Hello, guys. Here we are on another Friday evening. Now, I don't know what you guys are going to do this weekend. It's spring's coming. Honest to goodness, it's time for you to do maybe a bit of spring cleaning. Uh, and there's nice sunny days coming right now. I mean, you could get out on the porch and clean off the barbecue and hook up the hoses to it, the propane hoses to it, and get the barbecue running this weekend, or if you got a charcoal briquette type barbecue, you could clean it out and get it ready. Things are getting ready for summer. Summer's coming. It's right around the bend. You can feel it in the air. You can feel the change in the temperature right away. I mean, the sun's out now. Everything's shaping up. Now, the stock market. We're going to talk about the stock market for a minute. Looking at the long term, the long stretching term over the length of the stock market on this rise that we've had up that's lasted almost forever, the stock market is completely oversold. I mean, it's so ready to pop, it's not even funny, and it was even more ready to pop when it was up at 26,500 or more, right? Well, right now what's happened is in the short term, if we look at the short term picture, it's oversold. Right now at this moment, the stock market in the short term picture is oversold. They're ready to buy on the dip. Coming in tomorrow morning, they're ready to buy on the dip. The sensational news of Trump's tariffs and all the sensational news of stuff that the Fed's doing and everything is all done now pretty much, and they're ready to come in and buy on the dip. And so the stock market's ready to roar back up again. Now, here's the thing. I think that the stock market's probably going to make 26,000. That's what I'm thinking to myself. It's probably going to make 26,000 before it's going to go back to 26,000 or maybe even a little bit higher before the big one. Because you always have to have something up before it's going to go down. And this is what it's going to do. I believe it's going to go back up to a certain degree, and then she's going to roll. I mean, when she goes down this hill, the next time it's going to be a really big one, because fear is going to enter in, and that's when they're going to start panic selling, and that's when you're going to get your margin calls and stuff, and the whole thing's going to start rolling over at that point. Because we're ready for it. The credit expansion has been going on and on and on and on. And now we're starting to have a credit contraction. And the Fed and the central banks are all coordinated. They're coordinating this contraction. And so there's people out there say, oh, no, the Federal Reserve and these central banks are still in their process of expanding the monetary supply and everything. Aren't they listening to what the central banks are saying? The central banks are telling you that they're contracting. All of them are contracting in a coordinated effort to contract. Right now, they were going back a year ago or 2 years ago, they were expanding the monetary base. They were dumping money into the system, and they did have their quantitative easing programs and everything else, but not only are they ceasing them, they're pulling the money back now. Get up with the news for these guys that are saying out there that this isn't happening. Open your eyes and ears. It is happening. It is. The Fed is actually pulling the money in. They're withdrawing liquidity. And all the central banks are working together in a coordinated effort to withdraw liquidity. It's the biggest mistake in the world. These guys are either really stupid or they want to bring the system down, one of the two. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. They're doing what they're doing. They're going to continue to do it. I don't see them stopping unless there's a major crisis to stop them. And they're going to bring on the major crisis. It is going to stop them. It's pretty simple. It's as clear as mud. They're going to bring on the major crisis that's going to stop them. And then when they screech the brakes on, hyperinflation is going to begin. Now, it's going to begin. It's not going to begin instantaneously. It's not going to be like an instant cloud of hyperinflation is going to hit us and the dollar is going to be completely valueless in one day. That's not how it's going to work. It starts out slowly. You see consumer prices really starting to go up seriously. Everybody starts to spend money. People start borrowing money like crazy. And the first thing you know, the first stage of the hyperinflation, after you get a couple months of this going on, is an economic recovery. So, hey, this is the first economic recovery we will have had since the 2008 crisis. And it's going to feel good, and it's going to last a few months. It's the first stage of the hyperinflation, and it's going to last a few months, and it's going to be a real serious, a real economic recovery. Not a fake, phony, false economic recovery like we've been having, but a real economic recovery where the velocity of money starts to increase, jobs start to increase, people start to work again, money starts to flow through the system. Retail takes off like a fire rocket. Retail. It's going to be an honest-to-God economic recovery. Prepare for an economic recovery after the Fed turns this cart around. After we have our crash in the markets. And that's when the markets are going to go to the moon during this economic recovery. The stock market's going to go up, up, up. Insane. And gold and silver is going to go up, up, up. Insane. And the cryptocurrencies are going to go up, up, up. Insane. The cryptocurrencies are really, that's going to be what's going to make the cryptocurrencies. Is this economic boom that's coming after we go into the hyperinflation. But then, after we get this economic recovery, something very bad's going to happen. It's called a crack-up boom. It's the worst thing you've ever seen in your life because you go from that economic recovery to suddenly seeing food prices doubling monthly. You see prices of everything going up so fast, and your wages are not going to keep up. Then what's going to happen is because your wages don't keep up with the price increases, people can't afford to buy things then anymore suddenly. It starts to come in. It comes in faster and faster. And what happens then is then things start to slump off again. But it's a depression, but it's a hyperinflationary-induced depression. It's called a crack-up boom. And it gets worse and worse very rapidly then. And that will continue until the government does a reset at that point. But they're going to wait to do a reset. They're going to wait until they can get the get out of debt free card. They're going to wait, and the people are going to wait too. You're going to have to suffer with them. And how they're going to end it is the hyperinflation. This is quite a ways down the road. How the government will end the hyperinflation is by bringing out a new currency. A new cryptographic currency that's really worth something again. Because by that time, the dollar will be worth almost nothing. You'll be able to transfer your dollars over into the new cryptographic currency. And you will want to. And they'll force you to. They're going to give you a limited time to do so, at which at the end of that time, your dollars will not be able to be used. Only the cryptographic version. And so it'll be the end of cash. The end of cash. The end of the U.S. dollar in cash form. You won't be able to go into your bank and withdraw money anymore. You'll either have to spend money that you have in the bank or leave it in the bank. And this is when, next time around, after they accomplish this goal, next time around, when they run into trouble, they'll be able to go to a negative interest rate policy. They're setting it up for themselves for negative interest rate policies. So at any rate, this is what we got to look forward to. We got to look forward to there's a few blessings in all of this. One is the economic recovery. And for the people who have invested in gold, silver, and cryptos, and in the stock market too, the economic recovery is going to make you a lot of money. Because it's going to be a lot of money. But the problem is don't get stuck in fiat. Because ultimately the fiat's going to completely die. You're going to have to be quick on your feet in all of this. You're going to have to be able to think fast and move fast. And now, here's the thing, and this is the same way for me. As this situation is unfolding, this present economic crisis that started a few months ago, we're already in it, by the way. We're already in the economic crisis, but it's unfolding very slowly. It's like watching a very old man fall down. He's falling in stages, but he's on his way down. He's falling. The momentum's behind him. He's falling, but he's falling. Have you ever seen an old person really fall slowly? They can take 5 minutes to fall down. Seriously. And they don't get hurt in the end, but ultimately they do fall down. They're falling. You can tell they're falling, but they're like, help me, I'm falling. I'm still falling. I'm falling. Ah, I fell. That's how long it takes, right? This is the way this economic recovery is playing out. And I'm on top of the scene. I'm watching it all unfold. And I'm reporting to you guys. So I'm having to be flexible because as this is unfolding, I'm starting to see how it's playing out. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to configure how it's all gonna play out, how it's all gonna work. How one part of the market is going to interact with another part of the market. And seriously, to stay on top of this thing takes about 4 hours of research a day. So you see the end result of my program, which runs about, I don't know, probably 15 minutes or so. But it takes 4 hours of research to stay on top of this situation each and every day. That's what it takes. So, I mean, if somebody's not doing 4 hours of research each and every day, they're not going to be on top of this thing. So if they're coming out there and they're telling you whatever they're telling you, I don't care how much knowledge base they have. If they're not doing the research into how this thing's unfolding, they're behind the news, because the news is how this situation is actually unfolding. How oil is playing into it, how the Chinese are playing into it and what they're doing, how the Federal Reserve and the world central banks, how they're playing into this situation. This situation is evolving so fast, you got to keep your eye right on it to see exactly what moves it's going to make. It's so dynamic. And this makes it so interesting. I see a war going on right now between deflation and inflation. But I see the deflation actually going to win. And it's going to win because the central banks are on the side of the deflation. When they get the deflation that they're looking for, then they're going to turn around their policies. And that's when you're going to see this whole situation turn around and head toward inflation. And then later, hyperinflation. So listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next show. Bye.